Good evening, and welcome to the work session business meeting of June 2nd. We're reconvening the meeting after an executive session where we dealt with matters of the employment history of 15 individuals. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'd like to open it up for public comments on any of the listed agenda items. I see no comments, so we're going to move to the consent agenda. Number 1, please.
Additionally, the Treasurer's Report for April 2022 is available online. Resolve the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools to approve items number 2 through 9 as appears on the consent agenda of this meeting.
Second.
Questions or comments? Mrs. Bellino?
The consent agenda includes approval of minutes for the last 2 meetings, approval of 2022 ESY program staff listing, approval of additional work hours for staff members. We're appointing the Chief Medical Officer commencing July 1st, which is in response to an RFP. It will be Dr. Casero again. We're appointing the School Claims Auditor commencing July 1st, again in response to an RFP. Linda Carpenter is the Claims Auditor. We're approving an agreement with NYSER for Property Valuation Program. We're approving an amended PPS contract with John A. Coleman School, and we're approving some unpaid time for a staff member.
Thank you. Any additional comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution passes. We're going to start with presentations tonight, and we're going to start with Pride in Putnam Valley.
Nobody will ever guess who it is.
Wait.
You're killing me.
Sorry, we ruined the surprise.
You just did.
Okay, wait.
Pay no notice to the audience.
I'm going to ask Janine Rufo to come up and join me, please. Why not? So, we gave her tissues earlier, so we're ready. We're set. So first, on behalf of the Putnam Valley Central School District, the Westchester Putnam School Boards Association is honored to recognize Janine Rufo, whose support of public education, commitment to educational excellence, and dedicated leadership has enhanced the quality of education for all the students in the district. So that's from Westchester School Boards Association. Congratulations. This is Pride in Putnam Valley from Putnam Valley School District. So Pride in Putnam Valley to Janine Rufo. In appreciation and recognition for your commitment, leadership, and service to the students and staff of the Putnam Valley Schools as a trustee and past president of the Board of Education, presented June 22nd by Dr. Jeremy Luft, Superintendent of Schools, and the Board of Education. Congratulations. So, third, in honor of your service, the PV Booster Club Legacy Brick in your name says Janine Rufo, Board of VOE Trustee, dedicated service to students, 2010 to 2022. So, congratulations.
This is the keys to the car.
I'll take that.
She's coming back.
What is happening? I do love the Legos. So in my family, no celebration is ever complete without a Lego of some kind. So If she wants to put it together herself, I will take it apart and put it in a bag. I have the directions. But here it is, all the people and the colors. When I saw it, I thought immediately of her because she looks at each student and each staff member and each member of the board as an individual, takes us right from where we are, but sees also the picture that we make together. And just jelly beans and lots of colors.
Can I just tell you that I actually have one of these in my office?
Okay.
And I have 2 students that fight over it to play with when they're stressed. So now tomorrow,
they don't
I'm going to
have
look like a hero and go, ha ha!
Well, good. Congratulations. We're going to miss you.
Thank you very much. Can I say one more thing? So 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I discovered I love a good microphone. I never liked a microphone before, but I loved a good microphone. But sometimes I find how the universe works crazy. I used a pocketbook I haven't used in a long time lately, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but there's a picture of a sign that says, "Vote for Rufo's mom for Board of Ed trustee," because I ran when Michael was a senior, and that was the sign I used. I have no idea how that picture ended up in my pocketbook, but I found it as I sat down just now, so that definitely says something. And anybody who was around 12 long years ago remembers me saying, I only have one child. My nest is going to get empty very soon. I'm thinking of a pottery class or the Board of Education. What do you think? And I went Board of Education, and many times over the years, I would say, I should have gone with the pottery class. But I didn't really mean it. I was my way of being funny, because when you only have one child, it has been a gift to have 2,000 every year for 12 years. And the people of Putnam Valley have shared their student accomplishments. Seeing Dominic come in with his college shirt, seeing the people talk about their science research projects, I get a thrill as if they're my own child, and it has been an honor. It was a very tough decision to not run this year. Family circumstances with my father's health and just a lot of other things. I found I wasn't giving it the energy it deserved and the energy that I hope I gave to it for the past 12 years. I knew I couldn't sustain that, at least for the next couple. So I'm stepping down. I'm leaving things in your hands, Mr. Oliverio, and to my family on the board, that's what we are. We argue, we laugh, we fight. When Joe made me cry earlier, I punched him in the arm. But I hope I gave back a portion of what I've gotten serving on this board the last 12 years. Thank you.
I need to correct you, though. Your first thing you said was 12 years ago, looking for a good microphone. We did not have good microphones 12 years ago.
Oh, I just like a microphone. It wasn't a good microphone.
So you didn't think you were done yet, did you? You didn't think you were done yet, did you?
No.
So I do want to recognize I'm slightly biased because Ms. Rufo was the president of the Board of Education when I had the opportunity to come back to Putnam Valley as the director of curriculum instruction. So I certainly thanked her from that. And then also the president of the Board of Education when I had the honor and privilege to be offered the position as superintendent of schools. And I cannot think of a greater champion for public education, greater supporter of all students, regardless, all students, and really just a champion for Putnam Valley, willing to scream from the top of the hilltops how wonderful this school district is, our staff, our students, and our community. So I do want to thank you personally and on behalf of many, many of my colleagues, our students, and our community for the many years of dedicated service to our school district. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
One of the best decisions I was ever part of, for sure.
Okay, do you want to do this, seals? Do you want me to do it?
I would love to. All right, we're going to transition to our second presentation. So for our second presentation, I'm going to invite up Dr. Seppi, who's going to introduce her teachers, her presenters this evening. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm excited for our presentation. It was about a year ago that I saw an application by New York State that was asking for schools to apply to see if they wanted to be part of the Civic Readiness pilot. And as a 20-year former social studies teacher, next to education and students, there's nothing I'm more passionate about than civics and helping students to understand about our country and our foundations and learning about the right to vote. So I went to our social studies department and I said, who would be interested in helping me with this? And Ms. Donna, Mr. Kunz, and Mr. Scampoli all stepped up. And we worked last summer on the different requirements for the Seal of Civic Readiness and the rubrics and all the different areas that the students would have to perform in. And we worked with our regional specialist, Greg Fredericks at BOCES. And he helped us, and we also collaborated with schools such as Arlington up in Dutchess County. And we then took the information, really made it our own, and the teachers in the classroom really are the ones who worked with the students on the seal. And they're going to talk about it, but I'm proud to say that 48 of our seniors did receive the Civic Seal, which means they get a special seal on their graduation, which we're very proud of. But I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Donna and Mr. Kunz, who are here tonight to give you more of the details.
So I'm going to provide a little background information as they come up. With what Dr. Seppi neglected to mention was I was unaware that she applied for this privilege until my phone rang one day and a very excited Regent Wills was on the phone to tell me how excited she was that Putnam Valley was selected to be part of this pilot program. And my first response was, oh my God, Sandy's going to kill me. I don't even know anything about this. So when I called her and said, I got this call about this program, I don't know anything about it, she was super excited, and then I quickly realized that she was the one who had applied for it. So certainly an honor, terrifying moment for me, but I'm glad that it all worked out. So with that, you guys are up.
Thank you for having us tonight at the Board of Education meeting. We're really excited to share what we've been doing in the Social Studies Department and students in the high school. So the first thing that I want to start with is I think that it would be a good idea if we're talking about the Seal of Civic Readiness to define what civic readiness is. So it's the ability to make a positive difference in the public life of our communities through the combination of civic knowledge, skills and actions, mindsets, and experiences. So as Dr. Seppi was saying before, New York State developed this initiative to focus on civics in high schools. And really, the goal of this program was to have students learn how to identify and address problems in their community, make informed decisions for the public good, and learn how to respect others, which is something that we do every day in social studies classes, and looking at, respecting other people's viewpoints. So we were actually 1 out of 60 schools to be selected to participate in the program. And students who earn the seal will receive a special designation on their diploma and transcript. So I want to talk about some of the requirements for the seal first. So there's 2 categories that students must become proficient in order to achieve the seal. It's based off of a point system. So the first requirement is civic knowledge, and really students are exposed to civic knowledge in their social studies classes that they're already taking. It's embedded in the framework. So they learn about the foundations of our government, and they learn about a survey of U.S. history. So they acquire the points by already taking the social studies classes that they're required to for New York State graduation. And then the second part is civic participation, and that's where students really get involved in the community, where they complete a capstone project. So we decided as a committee that the project, we were going to introduce it into our 12th grade participation in government classes, which Larry taught, so I'm going to turn things over to him.
So yes, I taught the 2 semesters of participation in government this year. I've actually taught participation in government for 20 years, and I always find it to be somewhat of a challenging course. It's seniors. They've just taken U.S. history, where they've learned about the foundations of our government, and it feels a little repetitive. So over the years, I would always try to, teach the course in a different way, and it's just really challenging. Mr. O is here, and I would always reach out to him, and he was always really nice. We would do a class trip to the town hall, or we would invite him in, and I'm just always racking my brain trying to think of ways to have the kids participate in government, right? And it's challenging. So when we heard about this opportunity, of course, I was terrified at first too. Any new initiative sounds scary. But really, we're very happy with how it worked out. It's a really neat capstone project. So so we basically offered it to the 12th graders in those, as they call it, PIG classes. I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but participation in government, PIG. That's what they say. You go into PIG. Yeah, you have to go to PIG. So basically in the semester, they identify a civic issue, some sort of problem that they see is in their local community or even school or, New York State. They analyze this problem, they evaluate alternative solutions, and then something really challenging is they try to take some sort of informed action to address that issue. And that comes in a lot of different ways. I'll show you guys. Towards the end of the project, they present their findings to their class, but then also a Seal of Civic Readiness committee, which basically is us. Dr. Seppi came to quite a few of them. They basically do this great presentation. I thought I'd just show you a couple things that we thought were really neat in the project. I don't want to show you the whole thing and bore you guys, but we thought there was a couple cool things you guys would like to know about. So here's some ways we thought that students really benefited from working through this project. The biggest thing we think is how they developed research skills. 12th graders, a lot of them going into college, we think, anytime they're doing research, that's a good thing. We partnered with Mrs. DeMaine, the high school librarian, who did numerous lessons on, doing deeper research, right? Using our databases that we have through the library. We have the Gale database suite, which really worked great for this project. There's one you could see there called Gale Opposing Viewpoints, which, if you're identifying an issue and then looking into the different sides, the different viewpoints of that issue, it is just perfect. So that worked out great. Another great part of the project, as they're presenting, is they were expected to incorporate some polling data. So Mrs. DeMaine, we often went up to the library, and she also did some lessons about how to incorporate polling data into your presentation. So with that, we thought we would try to have some fun, and we have a really, really important poll for you guys to take. Yeah, if you could use your cell phone, and the kids during their presentations were taught how to create QR codes, and all the kids in class would have to take out their phones, and if you take a picture of that QR code, you'll see a poll comes up. Very important question.
I was going to say, we have a no cell phone policy here at board meetings, so
Oh,
individuals are not distracted.
So it says sign up.
This is a very important question.
It does say sign up for Mentimeter?
Oh, did we not set it up correctly?
No, it worked.
I did it.
it says thank you for participating.
You got it? Oh, good.
And then it makes you sign up.
There you go. I just refreshed it.
Thank you. Can I vote twice?
If Dan, yeah.
Said it already.
So the important, the important poll that you guys are taking is what kind of coffee do you prefer? And it looks like, yeah, that makes sense because America runs on Dunkin'. So I'd be concerned if you guys chose Starbucks.
I just want to know for the official record that the Putnam Valley Central School District does not endorse either Dunkin' or Starbucks coffee. However, if anyone from Dunkin' or Starbucks is watching and would like to donate large sums of money, we would be happy to choose a side and support one or the other.
Or we'll take coffee as
We can
well.
make it,
Or they could open either store in our town, it'd be
there you
fine.
go.
What's great about this tool is for their presentation to be able to, get some right on the spot polling data in class was fun for the kids. They would do all this research and show all this great information about this particular topic, and then to ask the class right on the spot, well, what do you guys think about this issue? And a lot of kids would try to come up with solutions for their problems and then put those solutions into a poll like this. Mrs. Demain also showed us how to do some pre-presentation polling, right? So with Google Forms, kids would be walking around school, collecting data for their presentation. So it was kind of neat, two different ways to poll and get data for their presentation. Go back to here. Yeah, that's back one, yeah. Obviously, anytime you have kids, students doing public speaking and working on presentation skills, that's a great thing. And they're obviously involved in the community because a lot of their presentations had to do with things that are affecting us locally, whether it be in school or in the town of Putnam Valley. We'll show you a couple examples, but we thought that was a strength of the project, to have them really researching things that affect them and their community. If you're curious, we just made a slide here of some of the topics that kids did their project on, their final presentation. You could see that a lot of kids were very interested in the effects of social media. So you could see that top research question that one student developed was, does excessive social media use affect the mental health of young people, which obviously has been very much in the news. So they collected all sorts of opposing viewpoints about that, polling data about that, texting and driving. One student did a really great project this semester on invasive species, mental health again. That was a great one. Yeah, do sports have a positive or negative impact on student mental health? That was really interesting stuff. Again, social media, cyberbullying. Does the government and school districts do enough to prevent cyberbullying? And we had one student do a project about recycling. Should the town of Putnam Valley have a required recycling program? And I think, again, Mr. O, sorry to keep calling you out, but I think they reached out to you for your input on the recycling program here in town. And Mr. O was very kind to, do an interview with that student. So it's been really great. It really worked out well. That's not working. Wrong button. Wait, it's frozen. So we were very happy with the results. 48 seniors achieved the seal of civic readiness, where they're going to, receive this designation on their high school diploma and transcript. And I guess we're already applied for it for next year. Speaking of, again, being terrified, Dr. Wills came to one day of the presentations via Zoom, and Dr. Seppi informed me, I think that morning, that was happening, which, speaking of coffee, she should have gotten me a coffee the next day for that. But yeah, no, that was fun to have her in. She seemed happy with the presentations, and so far the feedback has been great.
So is this pilot program is a 2-year pilot program? Is it?
So this year was the pilot, and then next year New York State's rolling it out to be like a permanent program. That's
For other districts?
Yes.
For everybody? Oh, nice.
Actually, I just found out about that. So everybody still has to apply, and they're not accepting everyone. I don't know how many they're going to accept, but it's not going to be rolled out for every school district. It's only those that apply, and then of those that apply, you'll be accepted or not.
Nice.
And I wanted to add in that it goes so perfectly with the IB program in the 11th and 12th grade, because one of the key aspects of IB is teaching students to look at opposing viewpoints and address them in a respectful manner, which is exactly what this presentation does. It's students choose viewpoints, and then they have to present the opposing viewpoint or what other people may view the situation to be. And I think that's really an important skill that we need today in this world, and I just love how this project emphasizes that.
Questions? Dominic, were you part of this program?
Sorry. Sadly, I could not participate in the program. One wish I would have for next year is that it would be expanded further from the participation in government to those in IB history classes, because it was difficult to be able to get that information and incorporate that into already existing curriculum work.
So that's something that we're working on for next year, is to expand it to more 12th graders. So that's like in the process we're working on that, so more kids have the opportunity to obtain the seal.
Excellent. Thank you. This is great. I was looking forward to this topic for a long time, and you guys did a great job. I'm so glad to see the school participating in this. I think it's a great program. And I was just looking, I may have, if I missed an email, I'm sorry, but if not, please, if we're able to, let the board know when the presentations are next year. I love sitting in on the CAS presentations for IB and the biliteracy programs. Would love to also participate in these, so thank you very much.
And I would imagine, because this is so much more than that, than our community service requirement for graduation, that this can somehow be incorporated, the work kids do on this. That's the whole point.
I mean, if they part of the project's taking informed action, so like they can get involved with like local organizations where they can get some of that,
That's great.
their hours for the graduation requirement.
It's very exciting.
I just want to take a moment to commend the bravery of the high school in a year in which was far from boring. They found the time and the insight to apply for a pilot program across New York State that would greatly benefit our students. So certainly my mind was elsewhere, but I do commend the efforts of the high school administration to put ourselves out there, as well as the teachers who were willing to step up and really take ownership. This had to be built from the ground up. There was no template or pilot to follow because we were the pilot. So we've essentially created the groundwork for others, which makes it much more difficult for us and much easier for them. So I do want to thank everyone. I know Bill also was involved, but not here this evening, but a tremendous job, tremendous presentation, and thank you all very much. Thank you. So I'm going to quickly ask our three guests of honor for their review of Dad's work. I got like a thumb up, a thumb sideways, or a thumb down. How do you do? Thumb up, thumb down, or like a sideways thumb?
Nice.
They go to QR to vote on it.
You got 2 thumbs up back there. You're good. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the board if we can rearrange some of the, instead of doing reports next, if we could move to new business. Just want to do one, or do we want to do all the new business? Okay, so we're just going to do item 1 under new business, and then we'll go back to the reports.
Resolve on the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools to appoint Thomas Wharton to a 4-year probationary term as an elementary teacher commencing on September 1st, 2022, and terminating on August 31st, 2026, the tenure area of elementary at the Putnam Valley Elementary School in Step 2 MA of the PVFT salary schedule. Mr. Wharton holds childhood education 1 through 6 and students with disabilities 1 through 6 professional certifications. In order to be eligible for appointment to tenure, Said employee must receive at least 3 APPR ratings of effective or highly effective during the 4-year probationary term and may not receive an ineffective rating in the final year of probation.
Second, sorry.
Questions or comments?
I just want to note that Mr. Wharton is here with us this evening. I know he, in conversations I've had with Dr. Podesta and others, I know he impressed throughout the interview process. In fact, I think right after his screening interview, I walked in Dr. Podesta's office and Ms. Pico came running in and they both had big smiles on their face and they're like, "We found one." So I was glad to hear that he continued to impress through the committee lesson, the committee interview and the demo lesson, and I had the opportunity to sit down and meet with him myself, and I had every bit of belief he'll be a fantastic teacher here in Putnam Valley for many years to come. He joins us with a great deal of experience from the Monticello School District, and we certainly welcome him as soon as they vote and approve it to be part of our team.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution passes. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Okay, come up and shake everyone's hand.
Huh?
He did his student teach, I think.
Welcome. Congratulations. Did you tell him he had to make a speech, Margaret? You didn't warn him?
I mean, you did play baseball, didn't you?
I played baseball for modified and played golf all throughout high school.
Okay.
Wrestled,
Class of?
2009.
2009. I had shoes that old. Okay, well, welcome. Okay, we're going to go back to the student representatives report.
Well, first of all, it's great to be back. And I apologize for missing a meeting here and there. It's been difficult with IB coursework and with finals coming up, but it's so great to be back and so great to report upon what's happening within the high school. First order is the IB coursework for seniors is officially finished. So,
Phew.
whew, yeah, I completed 13 papers in less than 3 weeks. So it was quite a bit, I tell you. But it's all done, and I can't wait to walk up and get a diploma. On May 26th, we had a successful science research symposium with many different projects being presented. It's always so amazing to see what sophomores, juniors, and seniors can think of and can present and can collect data on. It's really encouraging for what the next generation can really grasp and really tackle the world's problems like that. There have been award ceremonies throughout the past week in regards to 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade's senior award ceremonies is next week regarding community service, academic success, and other criteria throughout the past 4 years. Senior week is next week, and I can't believe it's already here. My last class is tomorrow. And that's officially it for me. Obviously, I still have to come in for all these activities, but I wouldn't miss them anyway. I mean, who wants to miss an ice cream social? I don't. And so there are events like ice cream socials. There's a senior breakfast set up by senior parents, which I want to thank. None of this would be possible without them. And many different presentations regarding our future, whether it's texting or driving, or how to use Narcan, or other, or voter registration. Participation in our in our civics is incredibly important nowadays. And within that, I want to thank the board for allowing me to give my opinions and speak freely about these topics over the past few months. So I really want to thank you, all of you, for being so supportive and for letting me speak my mind and for making me really feel like a part of this board. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Do you know what day the senior parade, is there going to be a parade, a car parade? Do you know?
So yeah, there's going to be a car parade. I can get you the date right now. Essentially, seniors can bring their cars, they can decorate them, and they can essentially show off what they've done. That would be on Friday, June 10th, around 1 p.m. at the town park. It's basically a competition. Whoever wins will get I believe, a gift card to Nona's. And who doesn't want Nona's? I want Nona's.
So
It's
if
rained-
history
it's rained
serves
every
us.
year that I've stood out on my corner to watch the parade go by, so I'm expecting it's going to rain that Friday.
Exactly. So if history serves us, it's guaranteed to be a torrential downpour next Friday, 1 p.m. Anyone watching, make sure you have an umbrella with you.
100%.
No matter where you are,
I have
it's going to
one.
be pouring.
I just
Even if
have,
it's sunny 20 minutes before.
I just have to say, Dominic, I really can't wait 10 years, 15 years from now to see where you are and what you're doing, and we hope you keep in touch with us. Can't wait to watch.
Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you.
Okay. You have to follow him, Dr. Ross.
As usual, he steals all my content. So now I'm going to take a little more of a somber start to my presentation and talk a little bit about what's on many people's minds before following the tragedy in Texas since our last meeting. And I know there's a great deal of concern out there in the community as well as within our hallway, students and staff included, as well as administrators who are responsible for all the individuals in our buildings. But I want to start off with the notion that I wholeheartedly believe that as a school district, we do everything in our power to keep everyone in our buildings as safe as possible. Tremendous amount of time and resources have been spent in the district over the years to ensure that happens. We work extremely close with our Putnam County Sheriff's Department. We have a security consultant that we work closely with. We train with the police officers and our security consultants and our staff members. We truly, I don't believe that anyone is ever 100% protected, but I do believe that we are certainly doing everything in our power, even on the mental health side, of making sure that students who need that support are afforded it. I just wanted to highlight some of those things, and obviously some of these are directly tied to the events that transpired in Texas. Each of our buildings has a security vestibule. So even if you access the building through the front door, you must be buzzed into the remainder of the building. Every building uses a single point of access. So for anyone who enters our buildings is then essentially trapped in that security vestibule until they are buzzed into the building. All of our exterior doors automatically close and lock. I know that's something that has come up recently regarding the incident in Texas, that apparently the door was now closed but not locked. We do have electronic locks on all of our exterior doors and require swipe cards to access them. So the only time those doors are open are for arrival and dismissal. All of our classroom doors have been retrofitted to easy to lock handles. So again, in this case, I believe the teacher of the classroom was looking for the key to put the key in the door to lock it. All of our door locks are either automatically locked as soon as you close it, or have a simple push button on the inside that they can push to lock the door. And as I mentioned before, we have well-established and practiced drills we're required by New York State to perform, and do so with a great deal of involvement for not just the Putnam County Sheriff's Department, but we've invited in state troopers, along as other municipalities to come in, because in the reality of a serious event, we know that there would be many different departments, law enforcement agencies arriving here, and we want as many people as possible to be familiar with our buildings. I do want to give a quick shout out. I know Dr. Podesta has already shared this information with elementary school parents, but I do want to reiterate it. We do have our final lockdown drill scheduled at the elementary school tomorrow. We are being as transparent as possible regarding that. We want to avoid any sense of fear amongst our parents or our students. So the fact that it is a drill will be clearly communicated to all. It'll be shared by the teachers. There's no surprise to this. Obviously, when we get back to normal drills, there is an element of surprise. That's how we know how people will react. But this is certainly not the time and the place for that. So we're getting our drill done. The students will learn, but it'll be done in the most transparent nature to ensure that everyone feels safe and supported throughout. Some of the items that have come up in regarding internal reviews of our safety, security, and systems procedures. Obviously, we have to be very careful with what type of information we share. Much of this is considered confidential. We wouldn't want anyone to know all the nuances, but some things that I certainly can talk about. We are looking to install keypads that would only be used for law enforcement. So rather than law enforcement needing to get a key to access the building or break down the door to access the building or find a swipe card, we're looking to create sort of a universal PIN code outside the buildings that would obviously be monitored once it's used, multiple individuals to be alerted. It would only be shared with law enforcement. It would only be used in the case of an emergency, but it could quickly be shared amongst multiple law enforcement agencies and grant whoever shows up first. In our case, it could be a Yorktown police officer. It could be the first on scene, given our proximity to Yorktown. Immediate access to the building. We're looking to, as I said before, all of our exterior doors have electronic locks. So those electronic locks essentially have computer chips to them. So we're looking at ways to monitor if doors are left ajar. So if a door is left open, cracked open, whether it be with a rock or a book or a stick or just that the door got stuck open, to create an alert so that could be addressed immediately and would prohibit any doors from being left ajar. Not that I believe that's an issue here in Putnam Valley. Obviously, continued internal reminders to our staff and students regarding procedures, a continued emphasis on student mental health. I think we have a tremendous clinical staff here in Putnam Valley, and they do an excellent job of working with students, performing risk or threat assessments if necessary, and really ensuring that students have the support that they need. And as I had mentioned before, a very strong working relationship with the Sheriff's Department and our safety consultant, Al Terrace. We do have an action incident review coming up with Al Terrace, and that's certainly an opportunity for us to review our policies, procedures, and I know I've received a couple of questions regarding a dedicated SRO at the middle school, and that's something that I will certainly discuss with Al Terrace as well as the Putnam County Sheriff's Department. So that's my sort of school safety brief. Sorry to bring up something so depressing, but I do know there's questions out in the community, and I wanted to take this opportunity to share the information that I could. Other than that, just a real few quick announcements. We have our Health and Wellness Festival coming up tomorrow, Friday, June 3rd. Dozens of local vendors from health, fitness, athletics, and wellness sector include various raffles, giveaways, prizes. I know the football club will be running flag football games on the field during it. It's an event that took place in a similar fashion many years ago and is being revamped by the Wellness Committee. So I congratulate them in bringing this back together, and it's something that I imagine only growing over the next couple of years. A communication recently went out regarding June 23rd and 24th for elementary and middle school students. Will be now be half days for students, so communication went home regarding that, but we want to keep reminding parents June 23rd and 24th will be a half day for elementary and middle school students. High school students will already be in their Regents Week. There's an upcoming opportunity for parent feedback. We're going to take an opportunity to review the district's mission, vision, and core values. So an invite went out. We have over 30 parents already signed up. So that's taking place next week. So we're looking forward to welcoming parents in the community to take to be part of that process. Obviously, there's been many events, science research symposium, award ceremonies. This is probably the busiest time of the year in all buildings. And some of the upcoming events, well, right now we have the chorus concert going on, health and wellness tomorrow, and then we have senior awards, our middle school band concerts, elementary school field day, and then it's that time of year, graduation, moving up, and middle school art, technology, and music show. That's it. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay.
I know Dom's is more exciting. I'm sorry.
All right, let's go back to new business. We're on to item number 2.
Do you want to start, Joe, again?
Resolve on recommendation of superintendent of schools to accept the resignation of teaching assistant Sabrina Dring from the district effective June 2nd, 2022, as per document number 19822 attached to the agenda and official minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution passes. Number 3, please.
Resolved on the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools to continue the moratorium on approving the admission of non-resident children of professional staff who were not previously enrolled in district schools during the 2021-2022 school year. Siblings of those currently enrolled in the district may attend with specific approval of the Board of Education and the payment of tuition.
Second.
Questions or comments?
This was one of the first things we
We
talked
did
about 12 years
12 years
ago,
ago.
and had that lovely meeting over at the middle school when we had to discuss this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? The resolution passes. Number 4, please.
Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools that the Board of Ed hereby creates the following non-instructional position effective September 1st of 2021. 1 school calendar laboratory aide position in a competitive class of civil service, and appointment Elizabeth Broes to the position retroactively effective September 1st of 2021 on Step 9 of the CSEA salary schedule for this position. Therefore, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools that the Board of Education ratifies a supplemental memorandum of agreement between the district and the CSEA regarding the newly created position in the CSEA bargaining unit and the corresponding salary schedules, and appropriates the funds for such a position. A copy of the supplemental memorandum of agreement shall be incorporated by the reference within the minutes of this meeting document number 185/22.
Second?
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution passes. Number 5, please.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the Superintendent of Schools to execute a supplemental memorandum of agreement between the district and the CSEA regarding wellness leave for childbirth, dated May 25th, 2022, and presented to the Board at this meeting as document number 202-22. A copy of such supplemental memorandum of agreement shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution passes. Okay, I'd like to open it now for public comment on any topic. Sam?
Janine, it's going to be very difficult to even attempt to fill the great things that you've done for this district. I hope in the future that we have the opportunity to serve together on this board. And I mean that sincerely. You are going to be sorely missed.
Thank you.
And the district will feel that, I'm sure. For your years of service, we can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Also, just a recommendation. Tonight, there's an awesome chorus concert going on, and yet the board is in session. There's got to be a way to work around that. I am very serious about that. Maybe we can start the meeting 2 hours earlier, at 5, so that we all can attend this great concert, or, due to scheduling or logistic problems that they couldn't move it any other place, or just have a standard that when the board is in session, things like the concert cannot happen. I understand sports because they run on a bizarre schedule depending upon who wins this, who wins that, and there could be possible conflicts. But a chorus concert or a band concert, they're set up a year ahead. And to have the leaders of the district here while they're in there playing, for me, it doesn't mix.
It's hard for us
Just
to...
a recommendation.
No, I think everyone up here wholeheartedly agrees, and I could say our board meeting schedule for next year is already in our district calendar, and we are committed to ensuring that things like this don't happen. I mean, it's built in a way to prevent this from happening, and yet it seems to still happen from time to time, so we're going to have to just work harder to ensure that it doesn't happen again, because I think everyone in here agrees. There's many reasons why we don't want a board meeting and a chorus concert, and certainly our ability to attend it is one of the big ones. But there's other factors too. So, thank you.
It's better than it used to be. There used to be a lot of conflicts, and where we actually had to leave this building because there was going to be a concert. We'd be in the middle school. So again, now I'm being very, very much looking back because
Very
of
nostalgic today.
because we're going back, and it's the idea of it was I shouldn't say it was a mess, but it was definitely less organized than it is now, because we want the community also to have access to this meeting, which is very important, and not to say it's an excuse to not come, but the idea of having to compete with that does not do a service to the event as well as to the community that needs to know what we do here.
Right. True. Anything else? Okay, no other public comments? Upcoming meeting topics.
So we have our E&L presentation scheduled for June 16th, which is our last meeting of this school year, and then the always exciting reorg meeting on July 1st at 10 a.m.
Okay. Board member comments.
So I just want to thank everybody again and just explain why we're having my last meeting when it's not the last meeting of the school year. Unfortunately, Paul McCartney asked me to go to his concert. So he actually didn't ask, but I am going to his concert, and it's on the same day. So that would be the only reason that I would not be at the last meeting of the year, especially because I really would have liked to see the NL presentation. But it will go up on the website, and I'll see it then. And I plan on being at board meetings in those chairs in the future. So.
Good, we would be happy to see you here. I'd like to thank Dominic for his service to the board. Every year we, ask students to participate. Some participate more readily than others. You've kind of jumped right in and shared your thoughts and ideas with us. We cannot do this work without knowing how students feel. We are eternally grateful for your comments, your thoughts, your ideas. Ms. Rufo started the tradition last year of giving you not flowers, but candy. So we're going to continue that. And
so
since you're here,
thank
you get them. One of the joys of coming to a meeting.
You probably could have used it when you were writing 13 papers at 2 o'clock in the morning, but
We'll see how far you get out with it.
There you go.
Milk duds.
Huh?
Milk duds.
Well, I am incredibly proud, incredibly thankful to serve on this board and be able to speak my thoughts and accurately represent the thoughts and feelings of the student body. And I can't wait to continue to serve such a position in college and further my life. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and thank you for inspiring me to do more.
When Dominic's sister was in my 4th grade class, he was maybe, how old, maybe?
I must
No,
have been
you were
2, 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he used to come with his mom to meetings with me, run around the room, climb up and down on the steps. So it was nice to have him here. It's a constant reminder of past students as well as the students that we serve now. On a more serious note, I'm going to go back to Dr. Luff. First of all, I want to commend his letter to the community. I thought it was really well written, empathetic, and truly represented the way we all felt, kind of like that shock and horror. I do want the public to know that both Westchester Putnam School Boards Association and New York State School Boards Association also published statements, really horrified at what was happening. The last line of the New York State School Boards Association message from their president says, We are a divided nation, but if we cannot come together for our children, then we have lost our way. And I think that's really true. So hopefully we're going to move forward. I do know that when I talked to the superintendent, all the things he mentioned, all the things they do every day in every building to make sure our students are safe and happy and able to learn are really appreciated and valued. Anybody else? Helen?
Barbara, I just want to jump on that in terms of some of the critique. Sometimes we see that we spend too much energy on social emotional learning and on non-academics, and I see a direct correlation in ensuring the mental health of all of our children. And that starts from feeling safe and feeling secure in school and welcome and included and provided opportunities to sit on the board or do science research or anything like that. So there's such a correlation, and I'm so proud to be part of this district, but it's devastating when you see examples where people didn't feel that same mental health, positive mental health. So that's why we do it.
I just wanted to say a few things, that we need to take a look at where our nation is at right now and do some soul searching, every one of us, individually and collectively. And what happened in Buffalo and Uvalde, Texas, it's not, for me, it's not political. This is a humanitarian issue that we all have to get on board with. We all have to take a look at the laws and re-examine them. We all have to, again, search our souls. Do we want to support companies that care more about profit than they do about human lives? I can't watch one more of these tragedies and sit and do nothing, because I've been watching them since 1999. And as a former administrator, we would sit down after all of these things and we'd plan and we'd get together and we have all the doors locked and all of that. And please know that your children do these drills so that in the event of something, an emergency, they know exactly what to do. But also know that after these drills happen, the administrators will sit down with their staff and they'll say, what can we do better? What can we go over? A time of children getting out of the building, in like 45 seconds for a fire drill, they evaluate everything and they go back to their staff. It's important that we work on this together and don't let these things continue to happen. Everybody has a voice. And even in the future, look at what's happening in our surrounding districts. Newtown, June 12th, they're going to have a peace march. I know I'm going to be there. Other communities locally are going to have things happening. So I can't tell you to get involved, but your voice is important.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other comments?
I have more of a question about New York State Regents exams.
Okay,
Totally unrelated to what we were talking about.
that's all right.
I know that there's been conversations regionally as well as locally about the use of Regents exams or not use of Regents exams for grading purposes, for actual, for grades, treating them as finals as opposed to have a district-made finals or teacher-made finals. And the idea of if we're going down pretty far down an IB road, does it still make sense for us to offer Regents exams for the non-required Regents exams? Just as far as exploration of how we use or don't use Regents exams, I just feel like that's bubbling up. Pros and cons all over the place, but just wanted to bring that up as something for us to be looking at.
Sure. So I think these conversations are happening on two fronts. One, New York State, the Board of Regents is taking a really close look at the system of regents and alternative assessments and portfolios and performance-based tasks. And I do have belief that the state is looking at graduation requirements in a way that maybe they have never looked at them before. Now, whether that means Regents as graduation requirements go away, I certainly can't speak to. But I do know that the state is taking a hard look at what it means to be a graduate of a high school and whether or not a high stakes test fits in that equation for all students. Locally, this conversation has been ongoing. I know it's picked up a lot of steam this year. I do know that Dr. Seppi has been sort of engaging her staff now. Obviously, we have an algebra regents in the middle school, but a vast majority of our regents currently happen at the high school, and sort of engaging her teachers in these conversations. I know that we changed how we calculate regents' grades into final exams, final grades for high school students this year. And I do know that Dr. Seppi has already started this conversation with her teacher leaders in each department to address that exact question. If regents are part of our final grade and not, and if so, what percentage of weight do they carry? And do we require more than the core 5, which is what you need to graduate, or the core 7, which is what you need for advanced regents diploma? Certainly students would always have the opportunity to take such, but whether or not they are required to sit for that. And I know one of the groups that has expressed concern is the students who are in the IB programs. So they're taking an internal and an external IB assessment, and then in some cases also a Regents exam. So I do know that this is on the high school's radar, and it's something that the administration and the teachers will be engaged in throughout next school year, I imagine. And as we wait and see what happens at the state level.
Has that affected you, Dom, at all?
Not so much. I think over time we just need to be able to manage what we have and just be able to balance and listen to all the concerns that are coming in. Overall, that has not affected me as much as it might affect some other students. So.
Okay. Okay, yeah?
I have one more thing in the realm of nostalgia. Ginny and I both came on the board with the same election. We've seen a number of superintendents that we thought were really great and others that were less great. Different administrators. I mean, what I think is kind of a hallmark is stability has grown. As far as you're not having a revolving door on administrators. We're not having those issues that we had very early on in our tenure. So at least in some part, I thank you for helping usher that in. And I'm going to miss you so much.
You're really killing me today, Jen.
On that happy note, I will say that I went to the elementary 4th grade band and chorus concert yesterday. Oh my gosh.
I can't.
Oh my gosh, they are so cute and so talented. I mean, first of all, Mrs. Bennett is like an incredible teacher. She had all different kinds of music. They were so good. I saw a lot of middle school band and chorus teachers in the audience, so they're like, know what's coming. And then the chorus, Mrs. Calhoun did a great job. They did, they had chorals, chorales, whatever. Music is not my thing, but I went home humming and singing, so it was really nice. I was glad, and it was packed. It was nice to see so many parents out. There is a lot of stuff coming up, like Dr. Luff said. So we'll be busy the next couple of weeks. I'd say I'd love to watch like band and chorus 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, because I'm watching it in reverse. Like I see the high school band, and then I see, so it's like, it's hard to sometimes see the progression, but it's really nice to see all the students be able to, do their thing. So it was nice.
You know, though a lot of the board work is approving expenditures and deciding on transportation contracts and setting budgets, the reason everybody is sitting up here is to celebrate, you know, student accomplishment. And how many times when I sat in that chair, I would say, oh, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part. But all my favorite parts had to do with students performing or speaking or being a part of their own education, so.
Okay, anything else?
Janine, you will be missed. I wish you the very
Thank you.
best.
I'm not going anywhere. You know my phone number.
But
You
I can't
know
talk
I'm
to you
going to
the same.
get up every time I hear something I don't like or like. Thank you.
You are more than welcome. We're glad to always have input.
Thank you.
So, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.